start the new chapter diode, basic electronics, and we see the operation of half bridge rectifier using the diode. Clear? So let's see the revision here. First, we see the rectifier circuit, then how it is operated in first positive cycle and how it is operated in negative cycle of your supply. And this is the waveform of half bridge inverter, half bridge rectifier. Yeah. And then after we see the average DC load current, how to calculate the average DC load current for the half bridge inverter, half bridge rectifier. And then after we see the average DC voltage calculation, then RMS value of current, RMS value of load current, load voltage, DC power delivered to the load, AC power delivered to the load, and then after we find out the efficiency of half bridge rectifier, and then another parameter ripple factor, which measures the purity of the DC output given by this rectifier circuits. Yes, this is the ratio of RMS value of AC component to average value of DC component. And this is a ripple look like at the output of the rectifier. First, that is the output of half wave rectifier, and second one is the output of full wave rectifier. Yeah. This is called as a ripple, changing in the magnitude with respect to time. And this is a calculation how to calculate the ripple factor. So we get the ripple factor 1.21 if we convert into percentage, so it is 121.1 percentage, and it is very high value of ripple factor. So it means the half wave rectifier performance is poor if your ripple factor is very high. Clear? It means that your output contains a more AC component, but we actually require what DC, pure DC. But if your ripple factor is more, it indicates that your output contains more ripple or more AC components. So that's why it is a poor converters which convert AC to DC. Yeah? So we must minimize this ripple factor using the filter circuit along with the rectifier. So in practical circuit, we use the filter at the output of the rectifier to remove all this ripple so that we can get the DC output at the load side. And this is a peak inverse voltage. So peak inverse voltage is nothing but a maximum reverse voltage appears across the diode. So as we know that during the negative half cycle of your supply in the half bridge inverter, your diode is reverse bias and reverse voltage come across these diodes. And the maximum magnitude of this reverse voltage, that is called as a peak inverse voltage. And based on this peak inverse voltage, we select the diode in your half wave or full wave rectifier. Clear? So here your peak inverse voltage for the half wave rectifier is supply voltage, negative of the supply voltage means EM. EM is the secondary side voltage. In the circuit diagram, if you see that here, the secondary side of the transformer, maximum value of the supply voltage is EM or ESM. Clear? Secondary maximum value. So here, when the thyristor is in reverse bias, maximum voltage is EM. So when you select the diode for this half wave rectifier, the voltage rating of this diode must be a peak inverse voltage rating, minimum peak inverse voltage rating. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose peak inverse voltage rating of the diode is 230 volt, and suppose you select the diode for this half wave rectifier of 200 volt. So during the reverse bias mode, means during the negative cycle of the supply, when the voltage come across the diode, that is minus 230, but the rating of the diode is only 200 volt. So your diode will be damaged because of the high reverse voltage come across the diode. So always choose the diode based on the peak inverse voltage rating, and the rating is always equal to or more than the peak inverse voltage. Generally, it is more than the peak inverse voltage rating, so that your diode will not damage once it is reverse bias. Yeah. So this is a very important parameter when you design the rectifier or when you select any diode for the rectifier. Then we see the disadvantage of half wave rectifier. So first disadvantage that ripple factor of half wave rectifier is very high. It is 121.1%, or you can say the 1.21, and which is very quite high. So as we said, that is a poor performance of this converter, and because of that, its output contains lots of ripple. So we need to use the filter to filter out all this ripple and to reduce this ripple factor to get the constant DC. Another disadvantage that the maximum theoretical efficiency of this rectifier is only 40%. And that is the theoretical efficiency, but actual efficiency, practical efficiency is less than this. Yeah, because here in this theoretical calculation, we assume that your diode is an ideal switch. Yeah, but practical situation, it is quite less than 40% because there is some voltage drop, there is some power loss across the diode also. So this indicates that the half-wave rectifier is a quite inefficient converter. Yeah. So this point you can write when you ask that to write down the advantage of half-wave rectifier. Yeah. Next point, we see the full-wave rectifier, that is also called as a center tap rectifier. As we say that, as we already discussed that starting of this chapter, there are two categories in the full wave rectifier. One is center tap configuration and another is bridge type of configuration. Okay. So this is a center tap rectifier configuration because here we use the center tap transformer, because here you can see that the secondary of the transformer, we provide the tapping at the center of this transformer secondary. So that's why it is called as a center tap rectifier. So why it is called as a full wave rectifier? So as you can see here, your supply is input AC and output is pulsating DC you get in both the half cycle of your supply. Yeah. Where in the half wave rectifier, you get output only in positive cycle. Negative cycle, you get the zero output because your diode is in off condition. But here we use the two diodes, D1 and D2, so that your full supply voltage is rectified at the DC side. So how it is possible? So let's understand it. So you can see that first, when you provide the positive supply, positive half of a supply to this transformer primary, same secondary you get here, and suppose it is a 1:2 transformation ratio. 1:2, which means that suppose you apply the 100 volt at the primary side, this side, at the secondary side you get the 200 volt. Yeah. So you can see that their secondary center tapping is provided at the center of the secondary. So in one half of the secondary, you get same as the supply voltage, it means this VI, and second half you get the same as the supply voltage. Suppose take the example that supply is 100 volt, so output secondary, whole secondary you get the 200. So in upper half you get the 100 volt and lower half you get the 100 volt. Clear? So first positive cycle polarity at the supply side, upper terminal positive, lower is negative. So same here, in the secondary side, upper half, upper terminal positive, lower is negative. In the secondary half, upper is positive, lower is negative. So with this polarity, you can see that your positive is connected with the anode of your diode. If you see the circuit diagram here, this is positive. So this is connected with the anode of your diode, and negative is connected with the cathode of the diode. So your diode D1 will start conducting. But what happened at the lower terminal? You can see that negative of your supply of the secondary, that is connected with the anode. It means here, this negative terminal is connected with the anode. It means the diode D2 is reverse bias condition. Clear? So it will remain in off condition. So only positive cycle your diode D1 will start conducting. So you can see that in the positive cycle, the current is flowing into this upper half circuit of the secondary, and current is flowing into clockwise direction through this resistance, and this resistance is your load resistance. So when current is flowing into this clockwise direction, so we assume that this is a positive direction. Right to left, this is a positive direction, or you can say the clockwise direction is a positive direction. And polarity of our load voltage, right hand side plus and left hand side negative, that is a positive polarity of the load voltage. So you can see that at the output side you get the same as the supply voltage. Clear? Whatever supply voltage you provided here, same voltage you get at the secondary side, at the load side, sorry. Clear? But you can see the negative cycle of your supply. What will happen? Polarity is changed, both the side, primary as well as secondary side. So upper terminal become negative with respect to lower terminal. So lower terminal is positive. Same way at the secondary side, here is also polarity change. Upper terminal becomes minus, lower plus. Same way in the second half, upper is minus, lower is plus. So with this polarity, you can see that upper terminal negative, that is connected with the anode of the diode. So that will reverse bias. It means your diode is act as an open switch, this one. So there is no current flowing into this upper half of this circuit. But you can see that the lower half, positive of your supply, is connected with the anode of this diode. It means your diode D2 will start conducting. It means it acts as a closed switch. So you can see that it is represented by the closed switch. Yeah. So current is only flowing into the lower half, but the direction is what? Positive to negative. So current is flowing into this direction. It means anti-clockwise direction through this load resistance. Clear? It is anti-clockwise direction, but you can see that the direction of current flowing into this resistance is again right to left. Here you can see that here in the upper half, when positive supply is given, current is flowing clockwise direction, but current is what? Flowing from this point to this point. Clear? Right to left. Same way here, when lower half circuit is on, diode D2 is on, current becomes anti-clockwise, but current flowing into the resistance is again from right to left. It means from this to this point. So it means that the direction of current as well as voltage across the resistance, that is remains same with the same polarity as we can see in the first half. Yeah, so you can see that in the second half, negative cycle of your supply, again you get the positive load voltage. Yeah, because right hand side positive with respect to negative, because current is flowing into this direction. Clear? So because of that, you can see that your full cycle is rectified at the output side because of conduction of D1 in first half cycle, positive cycle, and D2 during the negative half cycle. So that's why you get the rectification of both the half pulses of your supply. That's why it is called as a full wave rectifier circuit. Clear? So let's again it is understand by graphically by example of mobile charger. So I think you can clearly understand it.
In a previous video, we saw that a single diode acts like a...
Well, if you can able to see this video, बताना देखा जाए. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's watch this video and understand again the operation of this full wave rectifier for the mobile charger application.
rectifier, meaning it makes sure that charges only flow
So
in
the
one
video is not
direction.
visible.
But the problem is...
Sorry?
The video is not visible.
Video is
Okay.
not
1
visible.
minute. 1 minute. Okay.
The video is not visible.
In a previous video, we...
One minute.
In a previous video, we saw that a single diode...
Now you can see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In a previous video, we saw that a single diode acts like a rectifier, meaning it makes sure that charges only flow in one direction. But the problem is it does that by switching off the circuit when the charges are trying to flow in the opposite direction, which means for half the time it is switched on and half the time it is switched off. That's why it's called the half-wave rectifier. But the problem with this is if you're charging a phone, say for example with this, then it'll take twice the amount of time for your phone to get charged because half the time the circuit was just switched off. In this video, we'll see how to build a full wave rectifier. A full wave rectifier is the circuit will be on all the time, switched on all the time, and still the current should flow or the charges should flow only in one direction through our phone. Let's see how to do that. Well, if we just have one diode, and then you place it wherever you want, you place it here or whatever you want, you will see you can't make a full wave rectifier. It'll just act like this. To build a full wave rectifier, you at least require two diodes. So let's bring in a second diode over here. And let's think about how can we orient this diode and maybe we can get a full wave rectifier. Let's just play with this for a while. Let's try and explore. Maybe we take this diode and orient the same way as the diode we have down over here. What do you think will happen if we had a circuit like this? I want you to pause the video and think about what will happen. Well, it turns out in this case, nothing happens. There'll be no current at all through the battery. And the reason for this is you see when the current tries to flow clockwise over here, this diode will conduct. So this diode will have no problems. It will be green, but this diode won't conduct. So it'll be red. And now similarly, when the current tries to flow anti-clockwise, notice this diode will be green. That will be forward bias. So this will be green. But this will be red because this time you see the current trying to flow anti-clockwise won't work. And so this will be red. And that's why when one is forward biased, the other one will be reverse. And when one is reverse biased, the other one will be forward. And so this won't work at all. maybe we can flip this diode. So let's see what happens if we flip that diode. We'll flip that diode over. And I want to again pause this video and see what do you think will happen in this case. Well, now when current is trying to be clockwise, notice both the diode will be forward biased. Both the diode will allow that. So both diodes will be green, and as a result, we'll have a current flowing. Yay! But when the current tries to go anti-clockwise, no. You see, again, both of these will be red, and so the current won't flow, and again, you'll get the same thing as a half-wave rectifier. So this is still a half-wave rectifier with just two diodes. What do we do? So what people really did to get a full wave rectifier is something not very obvious to me. So I don't think we can work towards it logically. So I'll just tell you what they did. So their idea was, we'll first bring this diode back to the original orientation. Both of them will put them in the same way. Ooh, okay. So their idea was to take these two diodes and put them in a different circuit altogether, right? That was the idea. So how do we do that? Right now they're in the same circuit, right? So they thought to remove this, this phone from here. So let's do that. So let's remove that phone from there, from this circuit. And remember, we want the current in this phone downwards. That's when the battery is charging, right? That's what we assumed. So let's flip it. Let's flip it like this. And let's make sure the orientation is exactly the same as the diode as well. And we'll keep it somewhere over here. So as of now, the phone is removed from the circuit. And then we'll connect this wire. We'll connect this wire over here. And we'll take an additional wire from here and connect it to the phone. And another wire from here to here. So this is the circuit that people came up with. Well, now you may be wondering, where did this wire come from? Well, this wire is attached to the center of the secondary winding. You got that? So you can just imagine that we are taking one wire and soldering it to the center of the secondary winding. That's it. And so what this does now is it allows two paths for the current to flow. So when the current is trying to flow clockwise, for example, you can have a clockwise flow here, or you can also have a clockwise flow here. There are two paths. And similarly, when the current is trying to go anti-clockwise, you can have an anti-clockwise flow here, or you can have an anti-clockwise flow here. Both are possible. So now I really encourage you to again pause this video and try to see if you can figure out how this behaves as a full wave rectifier. Just think about this. All right, let's see. When the charges are trying to flow clockwise, notice in the above circuit, the diode will not allow that. It's in the opposite direction, right? So the above circuit diode will be red. It won't allow. But notice in the below circuit, the clockwise flow, the diode allows. And so during the clockwise motion, this circuit will be active. And so the current will flow only in this circuit. Similarly, when the charges are trying to flow anti-clockwise, the exact opposite happens. See, when the charges are trying to flow anti-clockwise, this circuit will be switched off. You see, this diode will not allow that. So that will be green. Sorry, that will be red. But in the circuit above, when the charges try to flow anti-clockwise, notice this diode allows. So that will become green. And so the charges flow anti-clockwise in the above circuit. So when the charges are flowing clockwise, this circuit will be on. And when the charges are flowing anti-clockwise, this circuit will be on. So now let's look at the animation and see what happens. And now look carefully to the charges that are flowing through the battery, through the phone. Notice that in both the half cycles, the charges are flowing in the same direction. Can you see that? Same direction. We have achieved full wave rectification. Right, the last thing we'll do is to predict what will be the graph of the current versus time that's flowing through the phone in this full wave rectifier. Again, I want you to pause the video one last time and predict what the graph would look like. Well, the first thing is the current is flowing all the time, which means the circuit is conducting during both the half cycles. But since the current is flowing always in the same direction, what will happen? Well, let's pause this animation for a while. So we just saw that the charges are only flowing through this phone in one and only one direction. And if we call that direction as positive, then you will get positive current. And you will again get positive current. Regardless of what is going on over here, Doesn't matter whether it's flowing anti-clockwise or clockwise, the current through the phone is always going to be in one single direction. So we'll still get a current like this. Even here, we'll again get a current like this. So this will be the output of the full wave rectifier. And so this is no longer half wave. We'll rub this, and this now is full wave rectifier. Full wave.
If you observe that the orientation we take in this presentation, and this orientation is exactly opposite. Clear? But the concept is same. The current flowing into the load is same. Clear? In our presentation, the current is flowing from right to left. Clear? In both the cases, because here orientation of the diode is exactly opposite. Clear? So concept is remain same, but you can draw any orientation, left hand side orientation of the diode, or you can draw the right hand side orientation. Clear? The concept is remain same.
Rectified. All right, one last technical detail is that you see the transformer we used for this is a special one. Usual transformers only have 2 output wires, but now we have 3 output wires. There's an additional one that's taken from the center. So such transformers are called center tap transformers. Center tap transformers. So if you want to build a full wave rectifier with just 2 diodes, then we have to use this special kind of center tap transformer.
So I hope you understand this graphical representation of working of the center tap rectifier operation. All of you clear this idea? How to get this operation of full wave rectifier? Is there any doubt? You can see the orientation we take is exactly opposite. Clear? In the video or orientation of both the diode is from right to left, but here you can see that orientation is from right to left. Clear? Current is flowing from right to left in the diode D1 and D2. Clear? But the concept is same. Current is flowing in the same direction when D1 is conduct during positive cycle and when D2 is conduct. When current is flowing from the D2 during the conduction of D2. Clear? So this is a working of center tap full wave rectifier, because they rectify both the half cycle of your supply, and this is the output waveform. First is the supply voltage, your sinusoidal voltage. Second is the current flowing into the diode D1. So as you know that the diode D1 is conducting only the first positive half cycle. So you can see that current is also sinusoidal and it is in the same phase of the supply voltage because we take the resistive load. Yeah? Same way, the third one is the current flowing into the diode D2. As you know that during the first half cycle, positive half cycle is reverse bias, so current is 0 from the diode D2. But during the negative half cycle it start conducting, so it is same as the supply current in the same phase with the supply voltage. Yeah. So now we can see the fourth waveform, that is the load current, which means current flowing into your load. Both the cases when D1 or D2 is conducting, current is flowing in the same direction. So as you can see that first half cycle your current is same as the current flowing to the diode D1, but after that is off. Then after diode D2 will start conducting, but the current remain from the diode in the same direction, positive. So you can see that you get the positive. So this process is continuous for the next cycle also. So you get this pulsating DC at the output side. And this dot line is indicate that this provide the average DC voltage of your output voltage. Clear? That is represented IDC. Clear? In the next slide we will calculate this average DC voltage mathematically. And the last one is the load voltage. That is also remain in the same phase with the load current because we take here the resistive load. Yeah. So load voltage also pulsating in nature, and this is called as the average DC voltage. This dotted line. Yeah. Let's derive the mathematically this average DC current and average DC voltage. So as we see that the average DC voltage you calculate for the first cycle, because for every cycle your average DC voltage remains same. Clear? So that's why we take integration from 0 to 2 pi. Clear? So here you can see that in the derivation our base is 1 upon 2 pi integration 0 to 2 pi of your load current, which is I with respect to d theta. Theta is the angle. So put the value of I, which is Im sin omega t or sin theta. So this replaced by Im sin theta. Im is constant, so Im by 2 pi. Take the only integration of sin theta from 0 to 2 pi. So first we see the integration here. 0 to pi sine theta, then pi to 2 pi sine theta. Clear? So after the simplification, you get the here 4 Im by 2 pi or 2 Im by pi. Okay. So finally you get the answer of average DC current 0.637 Im. Clear? Here by mistake it is written minus. Here it is a positive because you can see that your output voltage, output current is always positive. First positive cycle it is positive, second half cycle is also positive. Clear? So here it is a positive. Please correct this mistake here. This is a positive plus integration from pi to 2 pi sine theta. Clear? So you get the integration of first part -2, second part is -2. So you get the answer here 4 Im by 2 pi or 2 Im by pi. And finally you get the answer 0.637 Im. Clear? If you see the average DC voltage of half wave rectifier, you get only Im by pi. If you see the derivation, we see in the last lecture that average DC voltage for half wave rectifier, see the derivation, you get only half of your Im by pi. You can see here, average DC voltage, IDC is Im by pi. Here you get 2 Im by pi. It means in the full wave rectifier, your load current is 2 times the load current of half wave rectifier. Clear? So that's why you can see that here it is written IDC, average DC current of full wave rectifier is 2 times IDC of half wave rectifier. Okay. Then average DC voltage, this is the same IDC 2 Im by pi of full wave rectifier. Then average DC voltage, so average DC voltage is equal to what? Average DC current into your load resistance. So average DC current we have calculated 2 Im by pi into IL RL. So you get the 2 Im into RL divided by pi. This is the average DC voltage of full wave rectifier. Then after if you substitute the value of Im, maximum value of current. So if you replace Im is what? Is equal to peak of the supply voltage. It means ESM divided by total resistance of the circuit. So you can see that in your circuit, one resistance of your winding plus internal resistance of diode plus resistance of your load RL. So there are 3 resistance. So you can see that ESM divided by RF, which is the resistance of diode during the forward conduction, plus RS is the secondary winding resistance and RL is the load resistance. So here Im, that is replaced by ESM divided by RF plus RS plus RL. So your equation is become 2 ESM into RL divided by pi into RF plus RS plus RL. Now take the RL common from numerator and denominator. So finally you get the equation 2 ESM divided by pi, because we take RL common from the denominator. So RL cancel out. So the final denominator is remaining is pi into 1 plus RF plus RL, RF plus RS divided by RL. But as we know that the value of diode resistance and secondary side resistance is very small as compared to your load resistance. RF and RS is very less than RL. So we neglect this component, second component, because it is almost near to the 0 because your RL is very high as compared to RF plus RS. Clear? So we neglect this secondary component, second component from this denominator. So only remaining is what? Pi into 1 plus 0. So it is pi. So your final equation of average DC voltage, that becomes what? 2 ESM divided by pi. Yeah. So this is your average DC voltage of full wave rectifier circuit. Yeah. Now next is RMS load current. So how to derive the RMS load current? As we see in the last lecture, that this is the square root of the load current. Clear? So first half you get the positive, second half again you get the positive. Clear? So if you take the integration of 1/2 and multiply with the 2, so you get the RMS value of your full wave rectifier circuit. Clear? So here you can see that we take the base of only pi. Clear? So why here take the base pi? Because here suppose you integrate 0 to 2 pi, So then it required to take the base 2 pi because you take the integration from 0 to 2 pi. Clear? But here we take integration only 0 to pi. Clear? So that's why we take the base 1 pi, 1 upon pi. Clear? Or other way you can write this equation like 1 upon 2 pi integration 0 to 2 pi Im sin omega t square into d omega t. Clear? But as you know that for each half you get the same RMS value. So multiply with this 2 and take integration only 0 to pi. So 2 divided by 2 pi, so only remaining is 1 upon pi. Clear? So here it is directly written that 1 upon pi integration 0 to pi Im sin omega t whole square d omega t. Im is constant. Here in the second step, you can see that numerator and denominator is multiplied with 2. So that's why here becomes 1 upon 2 pi and here it is 2 sine square omega t. We take Im common because it is a constant. So Im square come out of the square root, so it is Im only. Then second step, Im square root of 1 upon 2 pi integration 0 to pi sine square omega t. This one we can write 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2. So divide by 2. So denominator 2 and this numerator 2 is cancelled out. So only remaining quantity is 1 minus cos 2 omega t. Clear? Here it is a mistake. Here it is a cos 2 omega t. Okay, not only cos omega t because sin square omega t is 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2. So after simplification of this, you get the final answer of RMS value is Im by square root of 2. Clear? Im by root 2. Next, find out the DC power at the output of the rectifier. So we already find out the average DC voltage and average DC current. Or you can write down the equation like EDC IDC or I square into R like IDC square into RL. So DC power at the output of this rectifier is what? I square into RL. So if you replace the IDC as we derive the equation, IDC is 2 Im by pi. So it is 2 Im by pi whole square into RL. So finally you get the answer of PDC 4 Im square into RL divided by pi square. So that is the average DC output power you get at the output of the full wave rectifier circuit. Clear? Now derive the equation of AC input power. So input AC power is what? PAC is equal to I square into R. Now is I square is what? That is the RMS value of current. So we already derive RMS value of current is what? Im by root 2. So replace this IRMS by Im by root 2. Its whole square into your total circuit resistance. At the secondary side, forward resistance of the diode plus secondary resistance plus load resistance. So AC power input is what? Im square into RF plus RS plus RL divided by 2. Clear? So if you find out the efficiency of this rectifier, so take the ratio of PDC by PAC. So that gives the efficiency of this full wave rectifier circuit. So let's find out the efficiency. So PDC divided by PAC. So PDC is 4 into Im square into RL divided by pi square and PAC is Im square into RF plus RS plus RL divided by 2. So after simplification you get the answer 8 RL divided by pi square into RF plus RS plus RL. Clear? Again, if we assume that RF plus RS is very small or negligible as compared to RL, so we consider that RF plus RS is equal to 0. Clear? So if we consider RF plus RS is 0, so only remaining in the denominator is what? Pi square into RL. So RL is cancelled out. So finally you get the answer what? 8 by pi square. Clear? So if you calculate 8 by pi square by replacing the pi by 3.14, so you get the value 81.2% in terms of percentage. So it means that this full wave rectifier has the efficiency of 81.2%. Yeah. If you see the efficiency of half wave rectifier, it is only a 40% efficiency. It means full wave rectifier has efficiency double than the efficiency of half wave rectifier. Yeah. It means that this converter, full wave rectifier, is more efficient as compared to the half wave rectifier circuit. So that's why generally we used to prefer full wave rectifier circuit in most of the application where we require the DC output. Like in mobile charger, then also we use the full wave rectifier circuit. because its efficiency is high. Next, same as the ripple factor we calculate as we calculate for the half wave rectifier. So ripple factor is what? The RMS value of supply, RMS value of output DC current divided by average DC current. Clear? So we here write the equation that RMS value of current divided by RMS value of average value of current minus 1, because as we see the direct equation here, as we take the equation here in the half wave rectifier, if you see the equation here, the ripple factor, that is RMS value of AC component to average value of waveform. Yeah. So RMS value of output AC current is what? Your total current, your total RMS current minus your average DC component. Clear? So that gives the RMS value of AC component present in your output, because your output contains two components. One is AC component as well as DC component. Clear? Your output is not pure DC. You can see that it contains the ripple. You can see that it contains the ripple. So it means that your output is not pure DC because it contains AC component also. So the RMS value of AC component at the output side, that is what? RMS value of your total current minus average DC current. Clear? So this is derived for the half wave rectifier. The same way you can derive for the full wave rectifier also. So if you simplify this, so it becomes what? RMS value of your total current output side minus average DC current divided by average DC current. Clear? Or you can write like this way: square root of RMS value of your total current divided by average value of DC current minus 1. Clear? So that's why you can see that here I directly write the equation of ripple factor for this full wave rectifier circuit. It is ratio of total RMS current, which we derive for full wave rectifier, is Im divided by square root, divided by average DC current, which is 2 Im by pi. So it whole square minus 1. So you get the ripple factor here, it is 0.48, percentage it is 48%. Where if you see the half wave rectifier, you get 121.2% ripple factor, which is very high. It means that your output is contains the more ripple or more AC component. Clear? So it means that this ripple factor indicates that this circuit is more efficient to convert AC into DC as compared to the half wave rectifier circuit. Clear? Same like a peak inverse voltage we calculated for the half bridge rectifier. Same way here you calculate for the center tap full bridge rectifier. So if you see that, suppose we take the example during the positive half cycle of your supply when your diode D1 is conducting. Clear? So when D1 is conducting, it means it is act as a closed switch. Clear? At that time polarity at the secondary side is what? Upper positive, lower is negative. Lower side first terminal is positive, this one is negative. Clear? So what is the voltage come across the diode D2? Because diode D2 is reverse bias. In this case, negative is connected with the anode and cathode is connected with the positive. Clear? So in this case, how much reverse voltage come across the diode D2? So here this negative is connected at the anode, and this upper terminal positive is connected with the cathode through this diode D1, because diode D1 is act as a closed switch. Clear? Suppose we have take the example here 100 volt, each secondary you get the 100 volt. Clear? So upper terminal, this one, that is at plus 100 volt polarity, and lower terminal, this one, negative, that is a minus 100 voltage polarity. So how much reverse voltage come across this diode D2? Yes, anyone can give me the answer? How much reverse voltage across this A and B terminal? કેટલો હશે reverse voltage? A terminal is at minus 100 volt, B terminal is at plus 100 volt. So what is the voltage difference across this A and B terminal? Yes, anyone can give me the answer? All of you understand what is my question? Yes or no?
So 200.
Yes, it is 200 because it is minus 100 is plus 100. So difference is what? Plus 100 minus this minus 100. So it is 200. So you can see that peak inverse voltage of the diode when it comes into reverse bias, it is 2 times the maximum value of your supply voltage. Clear? So if the diode is not ideal switch, at that time, as you know that the voltage drop across the diode D1 is what? How much? 0.7 volt. Clear? So at the B point, how much voltage comes? 100 minus 0.7. Or you can say that the voltage across the diode D2 that comes is equal to what? 200 minus 0.7 or 2 times supply voltage minus 0.7. Clear? But the value of 0.7 is very negligible as compared to this 200 watt. So generally we design the, generally we take the diode with the rating is more than the peak inverse voltage rating. Clear? So what is the difference between the peak inverse voltage rating of this rectifier, full wave rectifier and half wave rectifier? What is the difference? In half wave rectifier, what is the peak inverse voltage? શું હતો હાફ વેવ રેક્ટિફાયરમાં પીક ઇન્વર્સ વોલ્ટેજ હમણાં જોયું ને સ્ટાર્ટિંગમાં it is EM or same as the supply voltage, but here it is 2 times supply voltage. It means in the full wave rectifier circuit we require each diode with the voltage rating is 2 times supply voltage. It means suppose supply voltage is 100 volt, we require the diode of voltage rating 200 volt, where in the half wave rectifier if your supply voltage is 100 volt, then you require the diode of voltage rating only 100 volt, same as the supply. But here in the full wave rectifier, you require the voltage rating of diode 2 times supply voltage. So as we know that as the rating of the diode is increases, what will happen? Its cost is increases. Clear? So that is one of the disadvantage we can say that of this full wave rectifier as compared to half wave rectifier. Cost is increased because we use the two diodes, as well as the rating of the diode is more than the rating we require in the half wave rectifier circuit. Yeah. So let's discuss the advantage. So first advantage is what? As we see the efficiency is very high, 80%, almost double than the, not almost, but it is exactly double than the half wave rectifier. So you get the more DC output as compared to the full wave rectifier. Sorry, half wave rectifier. Clear? So efficiency is higher. This is the first advantage. Second advantage is that because of large efficiency, you get the large DC output power. And third one is ripple factor is less. It means it contains the less AC component. So when you design the full wave rectifier, you require the filter at the output side to remove this ripple. The size of the filter is required is less as compared to the half wave rectifier. Because in the half wave rectifier, ripple is very high. So you require the large size of the filter to filter out all this ripple. But here in this case, ripple is low. So you require this only small size of the filter to filter out this ripple content. And disadvantage, peak inverse voltage rating of the diode is higher. So ultimately that increase the cost as well as size of the diode. So these are the disadvantage. And another that here we require the center tap transformer. Clear? Is another device we require in this configuration. So additionally cost required for this center tap configuration of full wave rectifier. So these are the advantage and disadvantage of full wave rectifier. But because of this advantage of this full wave rectifier outweigh this disadvantage of the full wave rectifier. So most of the application we use this full wave rectifier configuration in practical application. Okay. Now let's calculate the example related to this half wave rectifier circuit. So let's write this example. First of all, AC voltage of peak voltage 20 volt connected in series with a silicon diode and load resistance of 500 ohm. If forward resistance of the diode is 10 ohm, if forward resistance of the diode is 10 ohm, Find the peak current through the diode. First one, find the peak current through the diode. Second, peak output voltage. Second is peak output voltage. And what will be this value if the diode is assumed to be ideal? Find out the same value, peak current through the diode and peak output voltage, by assuming that the diode is an ideal switch. So first you calculate this peak current of the diode and peak output voltage by considering that it is a practical diode. Clear? So practical diode, it means what? There is some voltage drop across this diode. How much voltage drop during the conduction? So here you can see that it is a silicon diode. All of you plus understand this example, then after write here. So here you can see that silicon diode, it means silicon diode voltage drop is how much? 0.7 volt during the conduction. So that's why here you can write that here potential barrier V0, that is 0.7 volt. So this is a circuit diagram. You can see that AC voltage, peak voltage applied 220 volt, load resistance is 500 ohm. So you can connect it here. This is supply. In series we connect the diode. Clear? Now the resistance of the diode is 10 ohm. That is RF, 10 ohm. Peak input voltage is 20 volt. Here RL, load resistance, is 500 volt. So here you provide the sinusoidal voltage with peak 20 volt. Equivalent circuit, you can draw this half-wave rectifier like this way. If it is a practical diode, so there is some voltage drop which is 0.7 because it is a silicon diode. So you can represent this diode by a small battery of 0.7 volt because 0.7 voltage drop across this diode. In series, you represent the 10 ohm resistance because this is the internal resistance of the diode during the forward conduction. So that is represented by 10 ohm resistance in series with this battery. And in series, we connect the load resistance which is 500 ohm. Clear? So from this example, you find out what? First, peak current through the diode. So what is the current, maximum current or peak current flowing into this diode circuit? Can anyone give me the answer? What is the peak current? Here you have supply voltage. Here you have all the resistance. So what is the value of peak current or maximum current flowing into this diode? Yes, anyone can give me the answer? See, the simple a closed circuit, apply KVL, simple. If you apply KVL simple for this closed circuit, what is the equation? This is your supply voltage, 20 volt, peak voltage. Because when peak current is flowing into this circuit, when you provide the peak voltage of this circuit is what? 20 volt. Clear? So here we need to find out peak current through the diode. So that is always possible only when we provide the peak supply voltage. Clear? Peak voltage is 20 volt. Voltage across the diode is 0.7 volt. Resistance, internal resistance of diode is 10. Load resistance is 500 ohm. So if you apply the KVL for this closed circuit, so it becomes what? Your supply voltage 20 is equal to voltage drop across this diode plus voltage drop across this 10 plus 500 ohm resistance. Clear? So we can write this equation like this way. You can see that peak current through the diode will occur at the instant when your input voltage reaches the positive peak, which is 20 volt. So Vf or input voltage is 20 is equal to V0. V0 is what? The voltage drop across this diode, which is 0.7 volt, plus voltage drop across this resistance 10 plus 500 ohm, Rf plus RL, into peak current, which we need to find out. Clear? So from this equation, what is the value of peak current? This IF peak is equal to what? Vf minus V0 divided by this Rf plus RL. So Vf peak value of supply voltage is 20, V0 is 0.7, Rf is 10, RL is 500. So finally you get the answer 37.8 milliampere. All of you write down this answer. Peak value of diode current is 37.8 milliampere. All of you understand this? How we get this answer? Is there any doubt? Yes or no? Is there any doubt to anyone? Okay, so calculate this. Same way, calculate the peak value of output voltage. Second thing for this circuit, peak value of output voltage or load voltage. Here you get the peak value of diode current. So what is the peak value of your output voltage or maximum value of output voltage? So how's the equation? Yes, anyone? Can you give me the answer?
We can calculate by V is equal to IR because R will be 500.
Yes.
And I we have calculated.
Yes. But here we calculate the peak value of diode current. Here we require to calculate peak value of output voltage. So output voltage is what? Is equal to output current. It means current into load resistance. So here your load current is same as your diode current or it is different?
Same.
Same, because you can see that your load is connected in series with the diode. So whatever current is flowing into the diode, same current is flowing into this load resistance. Clear? Because both are connected in series. So we calculated the peak value of current through the diode, that is 37.8 milliampere. So load current is also 37.8 milliampere. So it is IF peak into RL. So you get the output voltage, peak value of output voltage 18.9 watt. Write down this, peak value of output voltage 18.9 watt. Now, what is the next thing? Calculate the same thing. Here you can see that what will be the this value if the diode is assumed as an ideal. It means again calculate these two value by assuming that the diode is ideal. What is the meaning of ideal diode? Yes. What is the meaning of ideal diode?
Internal resistance is almost zero.
Internal resistance is zero. It means this 10 ohm is not present if it is assumed as an ideal diode, as well as there is no voltage drop across the diode. Clear? So this 0.7 is not in the ideal diode, and this 10 ohm internal resistance is not for the ideal diode. So these are removed. So for this ideal diode, what is the value of peak current? So you guys use the same equation, but V0 is become what? 0, because this is ideal diode, sorry, there is no voltage drop, as well as this RF forward resistance drop is also 0. So now equation becomes what? VF divided by RL. So that is what? 20 divided by 500. So if you calculate, it is 40 milliampere peak value of diode current. If you assume that ideal diode, V0 is 0 and RF is 0. Yeah. Put in this equation, so you get the answer 40 milliampere. Now what is the output voltage? Peak output voltage?
20 volt.
20 volt.
Yes, very good. It is 20 watt. 40 milliampere multiply 500. So it is 20 watt. All of you understand this example? Is there any doubt to anyone? Yes? Anyone? Is there any doubt to anyone this example? So here we complete this topic, full wave and half wave rectifier. Next lecture we start the new topic. And today in the lab session, we conducting the practical of Zener diode, experiment number 6, જે આપણે બાકી રહી ગયો છે. Clear? So we will meet for the practical session at 1:30. Clear? Is there any doubt to anyone? There is no doubt, you can leave this meeting. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Today in the lab session we meet at 1 o'clock and 30 minutes. Okay, afternoon.